How you doing? It's Sandesh here. I'm going to do a video on an article on cosmic book news, and I never talk about Star Wars, but this one's just too damn funny, and it was just so predictable. Like 4 or 5 years ago, we knew we knew this is already happening anyway. Before getting to the article, if you could follow me on X, subscribe on YouTube, Rumble and Odyssey, TikTok, and BitChute as well, if you don't mind, please. And the article is called "The Acolyte: What Went Wrong?" Series cancelled. Poor writing, missed opportunities, and squandered potential in the Star Wars universe. It's like, duh, no shit. We knew this years ago. Anyway, I'm gonna get into it now. The Acolyte was anticipated by some as the next big chapter in the ever expanding Disney Star Wars universe. Yeah, how many people anticipate it as the next big thing? It's like, please, not as many. I guarantee you. The vast majority of people were going to be like, yeah, whatever, just another one. Next. Set 100 years before the prequels, the series promised to explore the darker side of the Force, delve into the High Republic era, and introduce a new set of characters to a galaxy far, far away. This is where their problem lies. They always revolve it around the Force. You got this, you got this, you got this vast, you got this vast world in the Star Wars lore. You could focus it on the High Republic era. You could focus on the, I think the hunters. I think the Boba Fett type of hunters. Um, I'm not really into Star Wars lore, but I do know that it's like a big massive lore, and this is not just about the Force. But the thing is, Disney always wanted it to be connected to the Force, and I don't understand their fascination with it. Um, it was just so stupid. And by the way, and another major thing was they always got activists who wanted to be filmmakers who had no business being in the filmmaking industry, who just wanted to inject their politics. They didn't want to create stories. They didn't give a shit about doing that. Um, However, from the outset, the series failed to deliver on these promises, leading to its recent cancellation. The entire series, from its poorly conceived beginning to its lackluster finale, exemplifies why the Acolyte missed the mark so spectacularly. Um, Prioritizing diversity over storytelling. One of the most glaring issues with the Acolyte is its prioritization of a diversity of a quality storytelling. This that sort of bullshit is not just exclusive to Star Wars. It was also in Disney's other films, even in the animated films, even in the Marvel stuff. So it wasn't just only it wasn't just exclusive to the Star Wars films. It's just that the problem is the one who runs the Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy. She's also she just wants to get activists. That's all she wants to do. Because if she was worth a damn, if she is as good at her job as everyone likes to believe, then the thing is, tell me how the hell Star Wars has failed spectacularly for nearly 10 years. Explain that to me. It just doesn't add up. She really can't be good at her job. She really can't be. She really can't be that much of a good producer. Um, the casting of diverse characters seemed to be primary focus for Leslie Headland and Kathleen Kennedy, with a narrative built around this checklist rather than organically developing a compelling story. Exactly, no shit. That was all it was. It was just checklist bullshit, which Hollywood has been doing which Hollywood has been doing for a long time now. And this sort of crap is not exclusive to Disney. It's just not. I mean, on the rare occasion you don't see it, but for the most of the time you do see it. It's just so in your face. And then when you have a problem with it, even when women have a problem with it, and I bet you they do, and then they'll just say, oh, you're toxic. Um, it's just so funny how they say, yeah, we want to we want representation of women, but the thing is, women with sound mind and common sense are even going to say this is just stupid. Why not just tell a story without having to push the gender issue? You don't need to do that. Um, this approach led to disjointed and confusing narrative where characters and plot lines felt secondary to meeting representation quotas. Um, Boring and drawn out. By the time episode 3 rolled around, it became clear that the Acolyte was floundering. Instead of advancing the story, the episode dedicated an entire hour to the backstory of May and Olsha, a subplot that could have easily been condensed into a brief flashback. With only 8 episodes in the season, wasting a full episode on a slow-paced, uneventful narrative was a misstep that only um, exacerbated. If I mispronounced that, I'm sorry about that. The serious pacing issues. Yeah, I have not seen it personally, but the thing is, if you're going to do something that's so uneventful, then you don't need to waste a full hour on it. Just you could do that in like 5 minutes if you're that much good of a filmmaker. But like I said, they don't want to hire filmmakers. I mean, like for example, Daisy Ridley's film. That film is going to be done by a documentary filmmaker that has not made a feature film at all. She hasn't even she's only done documentary filmmaking, and plus she also said, and by the way, she doesn't like men, so I got a feeling this is just going to be business as usual. The show's handling of the Jedi was another major flaw. Despite being set in the Star Wars universe, excuse me, the Jedi and the Acolyte are depicted as weak, ineffective, and lacking the gravitas of their predecessors like Anakin Skywalker or Obi-Wan Kenobi. Again, this one is it's just dumb. I guarantee you, if a bunch of kids in school was able came up with their own Star Wars story, I guarantee you they would have done it even better than this. The lack of lightsaber action, especially in Episode 3, was a glaring omission in a series that should have been rich with iconic elements that make Star Wars what it is. The lack of lightsaber action, especially by Episode 3, that's a red flag. There should have been a lot of lightsaber action. And by the way, as far as the light, it's like I know George Lucas wanted to get rid of it, but the thing is, it was like him giving it to Disney was just like the biggest mistake he really did, and I don't know why. I don't understand for the life of me on why he bigs up Disney so much. I don't understand it. Additionally, the episode's revelation that the two lesbian witches, sorry, used the Force to create May and Olsha further strayed from George Lucas' original vision, sparking controversy and further alienating long-time fans. Knew it. I knew it. Don't even need to see it, and I knew it. Downward Spiral. Episode 4 of The Acolyte continued the downward spiral, offering more of the same drawn-out, nonsensical storytelling that had plagued the series from the beginning. While there were finally a couple of lightsaber scenes, they did little to redeem the overall lackluster quality of the episode. The dialogue, particularly between Amanda Stenberg Olsha, I think is that the woman who came out and who tried to make it into a race issue when people were not liking the Acolyte. I think it is, and Daphne King's Jackie Lon became increasingly tiresome with their repetitive exchanges that failed to develop the characters or advance the plot meaningfully. The introduction of pronouns, oh god, a modern day political injection into a galaxy far, far away, felt out of place and further distance the series from the Star Wars universe as envisioned by George Lucas. The much, the much anticipated character, Kanaka, a Wookiee Jedi who had been built up leading to the fourth episode, was ultimately wasted in episode 4. Instead of showcasing the character's strength and abilities, Kalnaka was unceremoniously killed while sitting in front of a computer, a moment that was wasted both anticlimactically and disappointing. Uh, the episode also mishandled the character of um, Ki-Adi Mundi. I think that's the name. A Jedi Master from the prequels. His portrayal in The Acolyte clashed with his established character in the Star Wars prequels, creating inconsistencies that only serve to frustrate fans further. The fact that his species is known to have a shorter lifespan adding to the confusion, making his appearance feel forced and poorly thought out by Headland and the creatives. Yeah, no shit. While episode 4 ended with potentially interesting development involving the series villain using a force push to overpower the Jedi, the moment was overshadowed by the overall lack of quality. I'm sorry. I've got, I've got a cough, sorry. The series continued to feel like fan fiction gone AY, with little regard for the established lore or the expectations of the Star Wars fan base. Glorified Star Wars fanfic. Episode 5 of The Acolyte does little to redeem the series from its previous missteps. Instead, it continues to exemplify the inconsistency and lack of direction that has plagued the show from the beginning. While there were a few cool moments, such as well executed lightsaber battles and shocking death scenes, that were not enough to salvage the overall narrative. The episode's pacing issues persisted with little to no progression in the overarching story. With only 3 episodes left, much of the plot remains unresolved, leaving the series with a significant amount of ground to cover in its remaining runtime. The portrayal of characters like Daphne Keen's Jackie Lon continue to raise questions with their seemingly overpowered abilities contrasting sharply with Master Indara. I noticed they do that with the female characters, with some female characters in Star Wars. They did it with Rey as well. They just made her like super overpowered. They just made her like one dimensional. They don't make them into 3-dimensional characters. They don't build them up. They just don't whatsoever. With Carrier Moss Master Indara, who died by daggers in the first episode. She died. She died by daggers in the first episode. So what was the point of putting her in the trailers before the actual show came on? That was just dumb. And similarly, the scenes between May and Olsha came off as unconvincing, as the two switch without users of the Force realizing what happened. The introduction of Corsis, a mineral that can short out lightsabers, was an interesting addition to the Star Wars canon, but it was poorly integrated into the narrative, feeling more like a gimmick than a meaningful plot device. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about. Um, it's obvious they do this sort of shit on purpose, because I guarantee you they're self-aware of the fact that that they're not good that creatively they're not good. They're just not good filmmakers. The reveal of Queenie, of sorry about the pronunciation, as the villain was equally underwhelming. raising more questions than answers and leaving viewers puzzled about his motivations and role in the larger story. Ultimately, Episode 5 continued a trend of inconsistent storytelling and missed opportunities, further solidifying the Acolyte as a glorified fan fiction that fails to live up to the legacy of Star Wars. The episode's scattered moments of excitement were overshadowed by the series' lack of coherent narrative and character development. The Acolyte drags. As the Acolyte drags into its sixth episode, it's clear that the series has lost all momentum. Episode 6 is nothing short of a slog, um, with a plot that seems to go nowhere, filled with tedious dialogue and undeveloped characters. The episode is so uneventful that it feels like watching paint dry, a far cry from the excitement and adventure that Star Wars is known for. The episode's lack of significant plot progression is another major issue. With only 2 episodes left to wrap up the story, it's astonishing that the Acolyte had spent so much time on scenes and subplots that add nothing to the overall narrative. The decision to waste an entire episode on setup rather than advancing the story is emblematic of the show's larger issues with pacing and direction. Fails to advance the story. Episode 7 of The Acolyte is arguably the worst of the series, offering nothing more than a rehash of earlier material and further wasting the show's budget. The show is essentially a continuation of Episode 3, of offering little new content and failing to advance the story in any meaningful way. The decision to dedicate yet another episode to backstory rather than focusing on the present day narrative is a baffling one. Usually, when I do, usually they're doing like a backstory, right, and you have to keep on referring back. I consider that as a weakness of the fact that you're not good at storytelling in any way, because you just don't know how to tell a coherent story. That's just me. I could be wrong. The Acolyte has left itself with a monumental task, wrapping up a story that has largely progressed over 7 episodes. The lack of direction and cohesion in the storytelling has left viewers with frustrated and questioning the competence of the showrunner and writers. The characters continue to act in ways that are contrary to established Star Wars lore, further alienating longtime fans. Saul, in particular, is portrayed as an ineffective Jedi, a far cry from the noble and disciplined warriors seen in George Lucas's original trilogy. Yeah, because George Lucas based Star Wars on the Seven Samurai. That's why the lightsaber fights in Star Wars were the way they were, because he said he had based it on the Seven Samurai. That's why it's such a far cry. If anything, it's like Kathleen Kennedy and the people at Disney are just taking the piss out of Star Wars. Even though I don't watch it, but it's flat out obvious. I mean, the last Star Wars film I genuinely liked was Rogue One. That was seriously good because it it had even though Donnie Yen's character was the only one that was connected to the Force. Other than him, there was no other connection to the Force. No one else was really connected to that. And I like the fact that it was done as like a full on war film, because that was the feeling that was the tone that they sent that they set. And I like the fact that no one survived. All the main people in that, no one survived it, and I like that. Um, the episode's attempts to create tension and drama fall flat, with poorly executed scenes and dialogue that does little to endear the characters to the audience. The episode and the show's budgetary issues, are also glaringly apparent. With a reported budget nearing 200 million, viewers are left wondering where the money went. The special effects are lackluster, the action is minimal and sparse, and the use of recycled footage from previous episodes only serves to underscore the show's lack of originality and effort. I'll tell you where that money went. Like nowadays in Hollywood, these actors have like these I think they have like these focus groups. I think Critical Drinker was touching upon this the ones where it's like all sensitivity groups and stuff like that, and self-help gurus, and they and I guarantee you the actors want all that stuff in their contract, and I guarantee you all those costs are just going to end up and just putting the budget up higher and higher and higher. I guarantee you that there's no way it doesn't, and it wouldn't surprise me if Sweet Baby Inc. also had a hand in the in the way the story was told in this show. And just like I said in the previous video, Sweet Baby Inc. If they're involved in this, they're not going to get hurt by this financially, because the thing is they would have gotten their fee. So since they would have gotten their fee, they don't care. Um, and the use of recycled footage, from previous episodes only serves to underscore the show's lack of originality and effort. Most of the runtime is consumed by characters standing around and talking. The high cost seems unjustified. Yeah, if you're gonna have runtime that is consumed by characters standing around and talking, then I guarantee you this: the dialogue needs to be engaging and interesting, and you need to have really good actors that know how to carry that dialogue and the scenes. That's how that works. If you got a shit director and a shit showrunner, it's just not gonna work. And especially if the script isn't just gonna be utter shit, it just won't work. As the series hurtles towards its finale, the Acolyte has proven to be a colossal disappointment, failing to live up to the expectations of fans, squandering the potential of the Star Wars universe. Like I said, it's like no shit. What a surprise! They squandered it on purpose. I guarantee you. With only one episode left, it seems unlikely that the show will be able to redeem itself from the trash heap it has become. Um, Too little, too late. And the Acolyte concluded with episode 8, which only served to highlight the series' failures. While the final episode offers some cool moments, great action, and a few answers, it was ultimately too little, too late. The writing remained underdeveloped, leaving viewers frustrated with what could have been. The episode showcased the same issues that plagued the entire series: a lack of coherent storytelling, underdeveloped characters, and missed opportunities. While various episodes featured minor redeeming qualities, a majority of the season was a waste of potential, dragging down the overall narrative and failing to deliver on the series' promise. Showrunner Leslie Headland's decision. Yeah, she's the one that she was Harvey Weinstein's secretary, I believe. And to save the best elements for the final episode without weaving them throughout the season was a critical mistake. Exactly. Because what's the point of the payoff at the very end if you're not going to keep people engaged and keep the build up all the way throughout? If you don't keep the build up all the way throughout, and then the payoff at the end isn't really going to mean anything, especially if it was boring and just stupid 7 episodes before. Instead of building up to an epic conclusion, the series mended through a boring and drawn-out episodes, leaving the finale feeling rushed and underdeveloped. The final episode's moments of excitement, such as the Sol versus Kima fight and the brief teasers of Dark Plagueis and Yoda, were overshadowed by the series' overall lack of direction and coherence. These moments felt like last-minute additions rather than integral parts of the story, further highlighting the series' disjointed nature. The lack of greenlit second season only adds to the disappointment as the series ends on a note that suggests more story to come, but with zero chance of continuation. The series ends not with a bang but with a whimper, leaving fans to wonder what could have been if the series had been better planned and executed. the thing is, it wasn't going to get better planned. It wasn't going to get executed, because the thing is, what you got to understand is, it's not about the showrunner. It's about Lucasfilm, who runs Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, and she wants to hire female activists. That's what it is, and she's not gonna go anywhere. She's not gonna be fired, because she was gonna be fired. It would have happened a long time ago, with the 100 with the shit ton of money that they have been losing. They're not gonna get rid of her. They just won't. That's what it is. So you know what? My advice to you is just don't consume Disney anymore. Just like get rid of your subscription fast as you can, because really, yeah, if anything, my opinion, I think that I think they're just laughing at all you people that are buying Disney Plus, and just to watch Star Wars, because by the algorithm, they'll know who's watching Star Wars. And so the thing is, you might say that, oh, I don't buy it for I don't buy Disney Plus just for Star Wars. But then if you watch it on in the off chance, it'll pick up in the algorithm through the of Disney Plus. Um, anyway, thanks for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe on this video. If you could follow me on X, subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, TikTok, and BitChute as well, if you don't mind, please. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.